Hey folks, it is Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. You're listening to the Daily Ledger Show, and I'm your host, Dennis Sert. Great to be here with you tonight. We got some good stories we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Wall Street Journal um, story, why ads in chatbots may not click. Anthropic standoff with the Pentagon shakes up the AI talent race. Google, and this is the last one, Google gives in to users' complaints over AI powered Ask Photos search feature. So we're going to talk about those. Before we get into it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow if you're on TikTok or Instagram Reels. And make sure to share this with all of your friends. And let's get right into it. Let's get this on the stage here. Why ads in chatbots may not click. So this is a story from the Wall Street Journal. And basically, it's kind of talking about how advertising is, maybe not going to work, quote unquote, according to Dan Gallagher, right, from the Wall Street Journal. So it kind of explains how ChatGPT is just top 900 million weekly active users, which is a pretty good and impressive stat. Um, with Gemini kind of tailing it at 750 million monthly active users. And as we know, you know, according to propaganda, but according to also kind of the facts, OpenAI is going to have a much higher burn in 2026 than it did in 2025. So it definitely needs to figure out how to increase its revenue. So what do you do with the 900 million weekly active users? You put ads, and I'm pro ads. I mean, you look at Netflix. Netflix dug themselves out of a hole similar to this. I've talked about it earlier, like this month, just on the show. Last month, basically in 2022, thereabouts, Netflix was in a similar rut, and how did they get themselves out? With ads. They introduced an ad tier. That's actually the one I happen to be on, mind you. And yeah, I mean, if you look at the numbers, ended up kind of figuring it out. They increased their Netflix did. They increased their year over year growth to something much more healthy. I think it was in thereabouts 10%, whereas before it was like 3 or 4% thereabouts. So yeah, ads saved their ass. Same thing with OpenAI. If you're able to figure out ads with 900 million weekly active users, you're going to be raking in more cash. Okay. Um, there was something in here that I wanted to talk about, which was kind of interesting. So, Dan Gallagher goes, but throwing advertising into responses from AI chatbots is no simple matter. Many AI queries aren't commercial in nature, and a user trust is still an ongoing issue. Given the potential for AI chatbots to hallucinate or otherwise give out bad information. I hear the same thing just from like professional circles too. I'll leave it at that. It's like people like delusional engineers and delusional workers are just like, oh my God, they put their heads like in the sand like an ostrich and they're like, oh, I'm always going to be better than AI. AI is never going to take my job. Right. And it's like they'll often cite hallucinations and they'll be like, oh my God, AI hallucinates. That's what they all say. It's like, dude, the fact of the matter is hallucination has been solved. Some of the leading models, like Google and OpenAI's top tier frontier models, have sub 1% hallucination rates. Okay, according to this one site that talks about it, drainpipe.io. Um, and it's like, aside from the stats, you look at everything they've done, like RAG, retrieval augmented generation, which is a way to combat, combat hallucinations. They've done other methods, right? It's like hallucination is no longer a problem. Like it used to be a problem in 2023, but much like Apple Maps, right? Where it's like, oh, you shit the bed once. It's like, okay, well, like in 2012, Apple Maps actually was pretty crappy. And it's like, okay, no one forgets about that, even though Apple Maps is good now. So it's the same thing here where it's like, okay, well, hallucination's gone. And yeah, it was a big problem back then, like 3 years ago. And now it's gone pretty much. And it's like, oh my God, but and then it gets into the Wall Street Journal, like boomers like Dan Gallagher, like, oh man, user trust is still an ongoing issue given the potential of AI chatbots to hallucinate. It's like, Jesus Christ. Putting ads into the mix could give users greater reason to question the value of the information that the chatbot is providing. Yeah, if there are 900 million weekly active users for ChatGPT and then 750 million monthly active users, um, oh my god, that just went right by me when I first read it. It's funny because the 900 and 750, it's almost like a apples to apples comparison, but sneaky, sneaky 900 million weekly active users is a much stronger stat than 750 million monthly active users because this one's monthly and this one's weekly, even if they were, let's say, both 900. That is sneaky. Wow. Because number, then millions, the same word. Active is the same word, users is the same word, but the just slightly broadened the window, which of course gets get more users into the bucket. The more you expand the window, the more users are in there, the better your stats look. And just to kind oh my god, that is just hilarious. Hey man, why don't we ask Gallagher here? Why didn't you write? Why didn't you report the weekly active user count rather than the monthly active user count for Gemini, huh? Oh boy. I wonder who's funding the Wall Street Journal. Don't we love to see that? Um, but yeah, going back to the point though, I don't think that many people are using ChatGPT and Gemini and Grok and Llama and everything, and Claude, of course, and thinking, oh, well, I'm gonna just like essentially put my career into this, or like my career into the hands of this AI, and then at the same time be afraid that it's going to hallucinate and be afraid enough to like, have some sort of leverage to leave. It's like, no. In fact, it's quite the opposite. AI is so good that it will put you out of a job if you don't figure it out real quick, right? If you don't get your head out of your ass real quick, right? Otherwise, it's like, oh, it'll never get my job because it hallucinates. Okay, yeah. Well, glad to see you're still stuck in the past there. Um, yeah. So that's kind of what I had to say about that. Anthropic standoff with the Pentagon shakes up the AI talent race. Dario Modi. Okay, great. So they've been essentially going at it. There's some news with Modi essentially suing the U.S. government Department of War regarding the status of being a supply chain risk. Um, Basically, he's saying that, well, that was such a uncalled for option. There were other options available, so that's kind of the nature of the suit. And then there's a story where it's like, okay, a bunch of engineers from various leading AI companies came to the rescue for Anthropic. And it's okay. I didn't even. Um, yeah, but what was interesting? So we touched on that. So due diligence is done. Um, there was something in this article that kind of piqued my interest. So you know, again, the Wall Street Journal. This time it's Megan Browbowski. Bobrowski. There we go. Um, Anthropic ended up losing only 2 employees to Meta. So basically, up to now, it's been kind of talking about how OpenAI and Meta, they're kind of going at it. They're like, oh, we're gonna poach each other's engineers with bonuses. There was a story months ago about like soup, giving soup. So okay. And then yeah. So, anyways, oh yeah, and then one more thing of note is like OpenAI reduced its cliff, meaning that shares are vested to engineers earlier. So they did that in order to make the deal more lucrative, the offer that is. Anyways, so that with that in mind, let's read. Anthropic ended up only losing 2 employees to Meta versus quote several dozen from OpenAI. He noted that his company not only has all of its original co-founders. Oh wow, good for you. But almost all of its first 20 employees. Wow. Um, if you look at our retention rate, it's just the best in the industry, Amodai said. We're just clearly doing something different. I hate people like that, to be like, I'm trying not to rag on Amodai, but he's just rubbing me the wrong way. And it's like, whatever. Like, imagine he's Joe Blow, right? Joe Blow says, if you look at our retention rate, and he's not even talking about something respectable like the actual like user retention rate, aka, on day 1 were they there, on day 7 were they there, on day 15 were they there. No, he's talking about the dumb way, the dumb interpretation of retention way, the very unscientific perception of retention rate. He's saying engineers who decide to stay versus decide to leave. So he goes, if you look at our retention rate, it's just the best in the industry. It's like, I feel like there's something, I feel like culture is against self-labeling. Like I can't just be, I can't just pull up and be like, hey guys, I'm funny. Or like, hey guys, I'm handsome. Hey guys, I'm demure. Hey, I'm popular, guys. Yeah. Like, if you self-name these things, I feel like it's probably not true. Like, it's an indication. Like, sure, whatever. Maybe, like, if you unironically say that, maybe there's like a 1% chance it's actually true and you're just being dumb. But it's like, it's probably not true given how much effort you just put into it, right? Because the effort itself kind of shows, like, okay, well, why'd you need to put in the effort? Because it's probably not true. Um, right. So that's kind of the effort, the perceived effort invalidates what you say. And it's like, even if it is true, it just kind of makes you look bad. It's like, okay, cool, you're popular, or you're funny, or you're handsome, or you're demure. And it's like, okay, uh, you're not anymore. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, a Modai. Wow. Can we just give a round of applause for his retention rate? Like, please. It's the best in the industry. Can I just bow down right now? Like, quick. Um, Google gives in to its users' complaints over AI-powered Ask Photos search feature. Sarah Perez from TechCrunch. How great. It's funny because the title, the intro, just like everything is so loaded in this article. Google gives into the dark side, right? Like in a slight capitulation to those who don't want AI, whatever. And then you look at, so basically what had happened was they put back in this non-AI photo search feature. Okay, so that's the whole point. And at the very end, it goes, uh, she finally quotes like a Google spokesman, um, or exec, and the quote is, "We from Google, we know search in photos is one of the most loved and used features, and we're committed to getting this experience right. So please, everyone, please keep the feedback coming. It helps us build a more magical experience for everyone." Like that is such a friendly message. Like, I mean, how about why don't we just amend the title instead of Google gives in, right? Like it's so like gluttonous. It's like so like there's such a power dynamic. It's like, yeah, just Google just bends over, right? No, it's like, how about Google just responded to user demand, right? Like what is that illegal now? Like Google's not a startup anymore, but like, is it illegal for a startup or a company to respond to user demand? It's like, well, what's up with this? It's like you have Sarah Perez from TechCrunch just like, slamming you now if you if you dare to build a more magical experience for your customers and your users. It's like, wow. It's like, it's funny because like these same authors and these same like journalists will shit on companies all day and all night saying how much like these greedy money grubbers, these execs, they just want to fill their pockets. They hate the user, right? And then whenever they say it, like the Google execs are like, we want to build a more magical experience for the users and we listen to the user, right? Which are all good virtues of any company. They're, you get Sarah Perez type journalists from TechCrunch saying Google gives in to the users' complaints in a slight capitulation to those, like as if the impact wasn't enough from the title. It's like she has to hit you again with the power dynamic, right? In the intro of the article. So it's like, what are we even doing? Like, what's going on? Google Photos AI search or not? Like, okay, was all of this necessary? Uh, okay. I think we're gonna end it there. Make sure to hop on when I go live. Should be tomorrow. I'll catch you guys around. Good show today. Peace.